3 hours ago, Governor Gavin Newsom walked into a press room already defeated. He didn't say it out loud. He didn't use the word. But everything about his posture, his tone, and his timing made one thing unmistakably clear. This was surrender. Just 4 days earlier, this same governor stood before the cameras and blamed Californians for panic buying. He accused families of overreacting. He dismissed food shortages as artificial scarcity. He repeatedly insisted that California's supply chain was resilient. Today, that narrative collapsed. Under mounting pressure his administration could no longer contain. Under the undeniable reality of empty shelves, stalled deliveries, and public alarm, Governor Newsom signed an emergency order suspending the very legislation that caused this crisis. Not because he wanted to, because he was forced to. 4,000 independent truck drivers parked their rigs. They didn't riot. They didn't march. They didn't lobby lawmakers. They simply stopped moving food. And the fifth largest economy on earth broke. The truckers won. I'm Rachel. This is State Watch News. And if you want to understand what really happened in Sacramento today, what the governor will not admit, what the media will minimize, and what this moment truly means for the future of California, you need to subscribe to this channel right now, because we didn't just report this crisis. We called it. We tracked it in real time, and now we are breaking down what this surrender actually means for you. Subscribe now. Let me take you step by step through what happened this morning. At exactly 9:47 a.m., Governor Newsom stepped to the podium inside the state capitol. He looked exhausted, dark circles under his eyes, tight shoulders, a voice noticeably lower than usual. This was not confidence, this was containment. He announced what he carefully labeled emergency regulatory flexibility for California's trucking industry. Those were his exact words. Here's what they mean. Governor Newsom suspended the enforcement of Assembly Bill 5 as it applies to independent truck drivers for 90 days. The same law that reclassified owner-operators as employees. The same law that made it legally impossible for thousands of independent drivers to operate in California. The same law that triggered this boycott, and the same law his administration repeatedly promised they would never compromise on until today. Here's what he said, quote, "In the interest of ensuring California families have access to essential goods, I am temporarily suspending certain classification requirements for commercial drivers operating in interstate commerce." End quote. Listen carefully to what he did and did not say. He did not say the law was flawed. He did not say the law caused shortages. He did not acknowledge the boycott. He did not mention truckers by name. Instead, he framed the reversal as compassion, as if undoing his own policy failure were an act of generosity. Here's what he left out entirely. He didn't acknowledge that more than 4,000 truck drivers refused to enter California for 5 straight days. He didn't admit his own logistics team warned him 72 hours before shelves went empty. He didn't explain why he stood at this same podium 4 days earlier and blamed consumers instead of policy. And he didn't apologize. Within 2 hours of the announcement, the truckers responded. The California Trucking Alliance confirmed that member drivers would resume operations. I spoke directly with a source inside the alliance at 11:30 this morning. Off the record, he told me, "We got what we needed for now." Those last 2 words matter, because this suspension lasts just 90 days, 3 months. After that, unless Sacramento enacts permanent reforms, the same rules return, and this crisis can restart immediately. Here's what's already happening on the ground. By noon today, trucks began crossing into California at the Prim checkpoint on Interstate 15. A source inside the California Highway Patrol confirmed that more than 200 commercial vehicles entered the state between noon and 2 p.m. alone. Distribution centers in Stockton and Fresno immediately began scheduling delayed deliveries. Warehouses that had been silent for days came back online. The San Diego Costco I showed you 3 days ago with completely empty meat cases has a confirmed delivery scheduled for 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. But do not let anyone tell you this crisis is over. It isn't. California operates on a just-in-time logistics system with an average inventory buffer of just 2.8 days. That buffer was completely drained. Even with trucks moving now, it will take 72 to 96 hours for most stores to approach normal inventory levels. If you go to the grocery store tonight expecting full shelves, you will be disappointed. The trucks are moving. But the damage is already done. And that brings us to the broader consequence of what just happened. What unfolded over the last 5 days has permanently altered California politics. Governor Newsom just proved something every industry in this state is now studying closely. If you control something essential, if you make the pain immediate and visible, Sacramento will fold. 4,000 truck drivers forced the most powerful state government in America to suspend legislation passed with overwhelming support. They didn't do it through lawsuits. They didn't do it through lobbying. They didn't do it through elections. They did it by parking their trucks and waiting. That precedent is now etched into California's political landscape. I spoke with a source inside the governor's office late last night, before the announcement was made public. According to that source, the decision to suspend AB 5 was finalized around 2 a.m. after an emergency meeting that lasted more than 6 hours. The room was divided. Half of senior staff wanted to hold the line, wait out the boycott, and request federal assistance if necessary. The other half warned that every additional hour was destroying Newsom's political future. According to my source, the governor barely spoke. And when he finally did, he said just 4 words. We don't have time. This was not strategy, this was panic. The political fallout was immediate. Senator Alex Padilla released a statement calling the suspension a necessary step to protect California families. Notice what he didn't do. He didn't defend the original law. Assembly Speaker Robert Rivas said lawmakers would work with the governor on a long-term solution that balances worker protections with supply chain stability. That's an admission. National Republicans seized the moment. Senator Ted Cruz called it a warning to blue states. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis publicly contrasted Florida's business environment with California's. The optics could not be worse. A governor widely viewed as positioning himself for a future presidential run was forced to back down on a national stage by truck drivers. And remember this, 4 days ago, Newsom blamed you. He accused Californians of panic buying. He called the shortages artificial. He insisted the supply chain was resilient. Those words are now permanent. His own administration had a memo warning the system could not survive a 3-day disruption. He ignored it. Now, 4 days later, he has admitted the truth, not in words, but through action. The truckers were right. He was wrong. And the cost of that failure is staggering. A Safeway in Redding lost an estimated $47,000 in just 4 days. Restaurants across California lost approximately $120 million. Farmers lost $90 million as produce rotted in fields and packing houses. Pharmacies ran critically low on insulin. Patients rationed life-saving medication. One 67-year-old man drove 4 hours each way to fill a prescription. Schools served reduced meals. Hundreds of thousands of children received inadequate nutrition during the height of the crisis. Total economic damage is now approaching $500 million, and not one person in state government has been held accountable. No firings, no resignations, no apologies. Now understand this clearly. This is not over. The suspension lasts 90 days. On day 91, unless permanent reforms are passed, the original rules return, and the truckers have not forgotten. The California Trucking Alliance has already stated publicly that they expect lasting change. If they don't get it, the boycott can restart with a single phone call. California still has no strategic food reserve. The supply chain remains fragile. The same vulnerabilities still exist. Sacramento bought itself 90 days of breathing room and called it leadership. Share this video. The mainstream media will move on. You shouldn't. Comment below with what you're seeing in your city as recovery begins. Are trucks arriving? Are shelves restocking? The trucks are moving. The governor caved, but nothing has been fixed. I'm George Stephanopoulos. This is State Watch News, and I'll be here when the 90-day clock runs out. Subscribe now. This isn't over. This was just a pause.